one app and you got to go fishing for it and you got to put it.
You
Just download your app. Seriously. Anyway, nice to see you. Glad you're here. We got a lot to get to today. We got some Elon Musk stuff to get to. We got some Christmas stuff to get to. We got some PSAs for the lady stuff to get to today. Helping us with that and much more, including a major thing that happened here in Ontario. Is one of my favorite people in the world.
You're allowed to drink beer.
Yes. Huh? What's that?
In the mornings for the football games, the soccer, the footy, major,
What,
right?
What are you talking about?
Ontario. You guys are allowed to drink now.
Yeah. 7 o'clock in the morning. You can start drinking. 6 o'clock in the morning. Yeah, they pulled the trigger.
That was just announced. Good for you guys. Yeah.
Thanks. Yeah.
Is that what you're talking about? Big news?
No, not at all.
Okay. All right. I thought I'd jump in with that.
That's actually not what I was saying. But we had something happen in Ontario that, other than people being allowed to drink alcohol at 6 o'clock in the morning for the World Cup,
it's the important news.
Get to. Yeah, it's the biggest news. No, if you remember correctly, a few months ago, this government was like, you know what we're going to do is we're going to take all the sick people in hospitals, because we have absolutely no concept of how to alleviate the hospital system. We've got no idea. We're useless losers. That's what Doug Ford's government is, useless losers. So the idea was they were going to take everybody that was in the hospital that they didn't want in the hospital and send them to long-term care, old folks homes, long-term care homes, palliative care units, just to kind of hang out until they got better because they needed the hospital beds for other things. Now, this was a major problem for people in the province of Ontario, because basically you're removing the human rights of anybody. Because here's the deal. You have to pay if you say, no, I don't want to go up to North Bay to be in a long-term care home 5 hours away from my family so you can have this hospital bed. And they're like, well, fuck, you don't have a choice. We're going to take that right away from you. And if you say no to it, we're going to charge you $400 a day. So they basically took people's human rights away, the most marginalized people in this province.
When was this?
This was like about a month and a half ago. And there's one person on this planet I trust with this conversation. One, I happen to be afraid of her, but I also love her. Please welcome to the program, Dr. Vivian Stamatopoulos, ladies and gentlemen.
It's a healthy fear. It's a healthy fear, though.
Yeah, I'm fucking terrified of this woman, is what I am. Terrified.
I'm a little scared of her too.
Yeah, I am. You are terrified. Like, I am so glad we're friends because of you. Like, how you operate, how you advocate. If you don't follow Dr. Vivian S. on Twitter, it is a fire hose of fuck you to every single institution out there to take advantage of marginalized people. She's about as good as it gets in this country, and I'm fucking serious about that. That's why she scares me. Seriously.
Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
Never
has it been an insult to be told that someone's afraid of you, but I'm afraid of you because of the good work you do. So there you go.
Well, that's a compliment. I will take it.
Isn't that nice? How did I do explaining the LTC shit?
Yeah.
So let's get right into it. Go ahead.
I mean, I was so happy to know that they are going to challenge this, because I mean, you remember the day that they first, the rumblings started in August that this was going to happen, that they were even thinking about this. And I remember, sometimes we get teasers from certain people, may it be in the media or people on the inside who, might tell us certain things. And I remember thinking, no way. You can't go this low. And then the day that they announced it, I remember, I think you remember too, I came on your show and I just did a litany of probably some of the angriest media interviews I've probably done to date, because it was just the most disgusting thing that I think I've ever seen a government do. Where effectively,
can you kind of encapsulate, like, because you're way better at this shit than I am, obviously. So go ahead.
Okay, so in hospitals,
explain it to Locke, because he's like, what is this? This is fucked. Go ahead.
Yeah, in hospitals, they have these ALC units, these alternative level of care units. And effectively, these are comprised predominantly of very frail elderly who, they may have fallen at home. There's no one to provide care for them at home, and home care is a joke. So we know that a lot of people, when they get to that point, we're approaching end of life care, right? And you're just not safe on your own, or you don't have the supports, the resources to age at home safely. And you fall and you hurt yourself, or something along those lines happens, and you end up in the hospital. And the idea is that you stay there and you heal and you resolve the immediate crisis that got you into the hospital, and you stay until a home opens up that you choose. And I mean, the choice is relative in that, you have a list that you choose from. It's not like we have to go to this one home and that's it. You know, there's a list and you then get to choose of like 5 homes, let's say. And when, you know, one of them opens up that you find appropriate, that usually is somewhere that is relatively close to any remaining family you may have or supports, and or you feel safe in, right? A lot of people choose homes for very specific reasons, of whether they have, you know, certain expertise in dementia care, although they all should, but that's another issue. The sector is, you know, woefully inadequate on dementia care. Or, you know, we have ethnocultural homes and they have longer wait lists. So for a variety of reasons, right? People wait and they choose selectively and carefully which homes they want to go to. And this government just decided one day, well, let's effectively blame the crisis on acute care, which has nothing to do with ALC, because most of these ALC patients are in separate, you know, units within the hospital that have staff that are completely different from the staff that are working in the, you know, acute care ER departments. They have very specialized staff. They do not, you know, they don't go from one floor to the other, right? And we know this. So, you know, they
like
decided,
nurses, they got like nurses that deal with specific things. They got doctors that deal with specific things, because a hospital is where someone goes for specific things, and then you go, okay, triage, we want you to go over here because you got a respirology issue, so you're going to deal with a respirologist. You're going to go over there. We've got trained nurses that are meant to do that. So what you're saying is they're taking it. So, Locke, this is a case in point. Let's say a loved one gets sick in Ontario and they're infirmed and they're going to be there for a long period of time, and there's no certainty as to when they might get out, and they're in the hospital. What Dr. Vivian is telling us is that here in Ontario, the government has the ability to say, hey, you fuck off and go up to North Bay, go up to Smith Falls, be 5 hours away from your family.
But hold on. Let's be fair. If there's a point to be fair.
There is none, but continue.
But they didn't just, there's got to be a reason why they're doing it. They didn't arbitrarily.
I'll give you the reason, Lachlan, and it ain't pretty. This is the reason that a lot of the experts have been flouting and openly saying this, that a lot of these homes that are the ones with the shortest wait list. Keep in mind, the good homes, the homes that people want to go to, have the longest wait list. It's the homes, like a lot of the military occupied homes, if you remember those, and the military report that rocked the nation and brought, you know, Canada to its knees effectively, if you remember that, May 26th, 2020. It's those homes and some other very terrible homes that have terrible reputations for very good reasons. Those are the homes that have the shortest wait lists. So what is happening, mostly for profit, we tend to find, right? And they have the worst outcomes in the literature, and this is longstanding. And these homes need to fill their beds to 98% capacity to continue receiving their funding from the government. So isn't it convenient to now establish a law that allows you to funnel people into these homes that they otherwise would never go into, because for very good reasons, they do not feel safe in these homes. They do not want to go to them. Everyone saw what happened in 2020, and it's ongoing. Let's not pretend that the sector has improved, which is something that gets me very irritated. When that Paul Calandra speaks and he has the nerve to say that they're going to get better care, more appropriate care and long-term care, when he full well knows some of the homes that these people are going to be filtered into. And he has the nerve to say that with a straight face, which, you know, the man should play poker, because I don't know how he says that with a straight face, knowing what we all know. Should we read the military reports for him again, because I've read them several times, so he can understand what happened to these residents, the thousands of which who died during this pandemic because of things like dehydration, neglect, abuse, you know, largely linked to the massive understaffing, which still remains in these homes relative to acute care, which always has had more staff. Even now in their staffing crisis, it doesn't compare to the staffing crisis that remains in long-term care. So how dare anyone in this government say that these residents are going to receive a better level of care in long-term care, when we know the staffing ratios don't even come close to comparing, even in their worst times right now in the hospital.
But aren't we trying to get them out of the hospitals because the hospitals are full? I mean, I'm playing devil's advocate, Dr. Vivian, not to upset you.
You're trying to understand
it already are. Yeah, I'm trying to understand.
Well, this government, Ontario, because Ontario sucks. Ontario has the lowest bed capacity of all of Canada. They put the lowest investment into our hospital system. And all we've done is close hospitals for the last 20 years. And this really started with the Harris government, right? So that's the larger issue, in addition to Bill 124, which has led to an exodus of nurses from hospitals. So the largest issue is that we're having staff capacity issues to actually provide the care needed to the patients in the hospital. So all you got to do is throw some money at the problem, and they're good at throwing money at problems that they want to fix, right? But throw money at the problem, which we know you need to do, and then repeal Bill 124, period. I mean, these two things, this is what you need to do. Instead, you try to say, and I will remind everyone, because this really bothers me as well, this law has been in effect for months now. Oh, has acute care gotten better? No, it's gotten worse. Mm-hmm. So if this law was actually going to do anything that they said it would, it was going to alleviate the acute care crisis, why has it only gotten worse since it came into effect in September?
So you know what?
And let me just kind of tie a bow on that, and just because, and then I'll get to Lachlan. Viv, thanks so much for explaining that, because you're 100% right. What you're talking about, throwing money at the problem, right? And the problem that they had is not hospital vacancy. It's not beds per se. It's we got beds. We didn't have enough people to staff the beds. So like you got two big issues kind of converging at the same time.
That's not just an Ontario issue.
No, it's across the province. It's across the province, but. Like, if you look at what Alberta's trying to do, right, in your province of Alberta, where Danielle Smith's like, people just need to start paying out of pocket because we're going to privatize the shit out of this. That's exactly the answer that Doug Ford gave. Instead of hiring more people, getting better nurses, paying the nurses we have a good wage, and not freezing their salaries, he pissed everybody off. Bunch of nurses left. Bunch of nurses went and got better jobs in other provinces that pay them. So we've got an acute staff shortage. On top of that acute staff shortage, his answer was enrich my friends, to the point where, to Vivian's point, 98% needs to be the target for for-profit people to get their subsidy back from the government to get paid. Some of those for-profits are operating at 60-70%, if I'm not mistaken, because they killed a bunch of fucking people during the pandemic. So no one wants to go there. So they're like, hey, just send us anybody you can so we can get to that quota so we can get our money.
Why don't you take care of people so they don't die?
Well, that's too hard. And then the other part was, they're like, we don't have any money to pay nurses, but they just subsidize two massive new hospital builds that are being constructed by friends and donors of the Ford campaign. So he'll do other things with the government's money to enrich people, to make it look like he cares. But in the short strokes, Vivian, and in the actual fine print, not only does he not care, he's finding a way to do business with this opportunity and nightmare at the same time. Correct?
The one thing that I think that I struggle with in this whole conversation, because this is a very specific issue, but if you take 1,000-foot look, if you took a macro look at the healthcare system in Canada, and you sit there and you try to dissect what the issues are. And I've said this out loud, and I don't mean any disrespect to anybody that goes into work and does the job that not a lot of people can do. But I have said this out loud numerous times, that I think that the people in the system that work the system want something changed. And I think that they're not sabotaging, but I think they're creating an environment to make it difficult for the public to access healthcare because they see a need for change. And whether that is privatization or the removal of government control over it provincially, I don't know what it is. But anytime I say that, Viv, and I swear to God, I've said it out loud countless times, no one ever questions it. No one, no doctors, no nurses, no anybody in the healthcare industry doesn't send me a tweet, doesn't send me a text, find my email, and tell me I have my head up my ass. If anything, I've actually had people, and it's not a popular thing to say right now. And the thing is, I'm not saying it from the perspective of these people aren't doing their jobs. They're sabotaging the whole system so that they screw the public, so that that it change. I'm not saying it from that. I'm saying that I think there's an underlying subconscious attempt to try to change the system that we have because something isn't working and no fix has actually been effective. Because this is not a unique situation to Ontario. It is across the board in Canada. We have a broken medical system, and I don't know where you would even start to try to fix it.
I think it's completely deliberate, though. Like, I've met and I've had the pleasure of meeting a whole lot of nurses and a whole lot of doctors and a whole lot of hospital staff throughout my advocacy. And I can tell you, they're just as horrified by what's going on, with the exception of maybe a couple bad actor MDs. But where I see this coming from is from the very higher ups, right? These are the people who have a vested interest in the private clinics that will emerge if we break the public system. I mean, this is all very top, very elite, wealthy circles.
So you're agreeing with me?
Are never going to. Well, I don't think it's the people that are working in the hospitals on the daily, right?
No, I didn't say that.
Yeah. There's no question this is deliberate. There's no question that this is, it was what Fissman said this a while ago, Dr. David Fissman, right? Break it to privatize it, right? There's no question in my mind that a lot of this would seem very deliberate, right? Why coincidental that we have these private nursing agencies gouging our system and charging our system, 2-3 times we could pay a public, owned by people like, what was it? Mike Harris's wife. She was the star for opening one of these home care agencies. I don't know if it's one of the ones dealing with the hospitals right now, but either way, you see that a lot of these people then go into these private agencies, whether it's home care agency, temp staffing agencies. And isn't it convenient that these agencies were somehow allowed to decimate our healthcare system and overcharge our public healthcare at the same time that a bill came in capping the public sector wages, which would actively coerce and effectively push out the public sector nurses into the private sector, because then they can get paid more by allowing their companies to charge these exorbitant hourly costs to the hospitals, and the hospitals sit there and allow it to happen. And it makes no sense, because clearly it is working to hurt our public Medicare system, and the only people benefiting in that system are the owners of those companies and whoever's wheels they have to grease to allow this completely dysfunctional system to amp up. And it amped up during COVID. Make no mistake, right? There were agencies, there was
they were laying tracks for the last 3 years, right? For this stuff.
But it was like game on when COVID hit. And I was hearing from workers, migrant workers who would reach out to me and say, I was sent to one of these, no healthcare experience. They were, and of course they just need work, right? And they were telling me that I just wanted the work. So of course they found these temp agencies who would hire them, and they sent them to some of the worst homes in outbreak nursing homes. No training, no expertise in infection prevention and control and how to deal with the pandemic. And then you can imagine they got sick, and then they said, okay, bye, sorry, you're out, you got to go home now, and never called them back, never gave them future work. I mean, this is how we were treating people. And the government was well aware that these companies were doing this, and just let them continue. Just let them. And it's still, and then you look at some of these temp agencies, by the way, that were like Uber style. They were working through apps. One of them had, I think, $1 million cash investment from like Rivera, which was one of the biggest, for-profit long-term care chains that just sold to Extendicare, another for-profit chain, which got chased out of the U.S. Because of, systemic neglect in the U.S. in their nursing homes. And instead of, doing a corporate ethics agreement where they had to increase their staffing levels and report their staffing and follow certain conditions to improve better care, they said, we'll just close up shop in the US and come to Canada and focus on Canada. And that's exactly what they did. And both provincial governments and our federal government, shame on Trudeau for this, let them buy out a lot of the Rivera homes, when Rivera is actually owned by the public sector pension fund. And we had a perfect opportunity to then divest from private for-profit ownership and turn those homes back to municipalities and to regional ownership. And they didn't. Why didn't they as well? Why didn't the Liberals as well? So I got problems, not only with our PC government, but I got a whole lot of problems with the federal Liberal government as well, because they ruined a very good opportunity to make a lot of homes much better.
Locke?
I was just gonna say that sometimes I get really stressed out on this podcast.
It's, you know what? And that's why I love having Viv on. And it's why I love getting underneath these things, because we never really see, you know, we see the car drive by. It looks nice, maybe. And it's like, oh, this is just a new car. Don't worry about it. We're like, well, what's in the car? Why? And it's like, don't worry about what's in the car. It's a car. No, it's a solution. It's thing. We got this. Don't worry about it. And then when you lift the hood up in that car with people like Viv, you're like, this is garbage. Like, what the fuck are we doing here? What are we doing to our old folks? What are we doing to our most marginalized or most infirmed? What are we doing? And so that brings us to solution, which happened yesterday, Viv. There's a big announcement that happened.
Man.
You were jacked. Let's go through.
Jacked.
Let's go through these tweets. Good morning.
Yeah. So that's Ben Piper, and he's the lawyer that the Ontario Health Coalition has brought on with Goldblatt Partners to fight this. In addition to ACE, the Advocacy Center for the Elderly, and Graham Webb was the other lawyer on that at that press conference alongside Natalie Mera, right? And they very clearly pointed out how this violates not only Section 7, which protects the fundamental right to life, liberty, and the security of person, but also Section 15, right, which is, the fundamental right to be free from discrimination, because it is very clear that by removing consent to, choose what home you're going to go to, and keep in mind, it's not just that, they've enabled hospitals to release these patients' private health data and private health records to a variety of companies without their consent. And then they're making deals behind their back effectively on what homes they're going to go to. And then they say, this is the home you're going to go to. It could be 75 kilometers away. It could be 200 kilometers away. If you're in Northern Canada and there's not a bed around, you could be sent, got 200-300 kilometers away. You could be sent anywhere for a bed that's free. And if you don't, and this is why we're now kicking up a fuss at this time, because as of November 20th, keep in mind, so this bill came into effect September 21st, but some of the financial stakes, so to speak, right, the penalty, the bed costs came into effect November 20th, right? So a couple of days ago, which said, if you don't go to this home we've chosen for you, which could be a terrible home, which could be a home you read about in the military reports, which could be a home 200 kilometers away, which you'll never see your elderly spouse who usually comes visit you every day, 3-4 times a day to make sure you're okay at the home in your community, right? But if you don't take this home, 200 kilometers away, that was, let's say, featured in the military reports, we're going to charge you $400 a day starting today. And they don't even have a choice, right? Someone is getting billed $400 a day. And obviously that is a coercive tool, because who can afford, keep in mind, the elderly are already one of the lowest income populations that are already disadvantaged and stereotyped, and they're low income. And now you're trying to tell them they can afford $400 a day to stay in a hospital they feel safe in their community. Of course they're going to leave. They don't have a choice. Who can afford that? Who can afford that? Nobody. Can you afford $400 a day? No. Nobody can afford that. It is ludicrous. And they are then going to ship these people off away from their families, where effectively they are sentenced to die in isolation, because that's what's going to happen. Right? Remember, these homes are already understaffed. Staff don't have the time to converse with the residents, to chat with them, to be there if they don't have companionship from their family, which do this.
No specialized training.
Nothing.
Yeah.
Get out of here. They're going to go there. And what makes me so upset about this is that we learned very early on in the pandemic. And this is why I started my advocacy, because, Dean knows this. I had lost a loved one in long-term care literally 2 weeks before the pandemic, we were locked down. And I knew how much I was there and the role I played in long-term care. And I would see the other families, right? And how invested they were in being there for the residents because of the structural deficiencies in the sector. And when they locked out family, I knew how disastrous that would be. I knew what it would cause. And it's exactly what we saw. And the evidence, bore out.
Are you talking about like during COVID when they were saying, hey, you can wave to your mom through these
7 months,
of glass?
They couldn't get inside. For 7 months, they couldn't get inside. They couldn't get inside. And these residents, and we saw very early on in France, we had research called the confinement syndrome of how these residents, and they pointed out, these residents were dying, not from any COVID or, respiratory distress or disease. They were dying from being left alone in their rooms for days on end. And that was just 19 days. And we found that these residents were dying, not from any, respiratory illness, but from hypovolemic shock. Effectively, their organs just gave out on them. They were fluid loss, blood loss, and they just effectively shut down because they weren't being engaged. They were left on their own. Dehydration kicked in. They weren't eating properly. And this is what happened. If you don't have your family nearby, your support system, forget it. You are sentencing these people to a terrible early death. And it is the most upsetting and disgusting thing that you can do to people they're dying. These people are dying, and this is how you're going to treat them at the end of their life. These are the people that built our society for us. These are your grandparents. These are your parents. And this is how you're going to treat them at the end of their life. Shame on every single one of these people, on anyone, and all the hospital CEOs, because there was quite a few of them that signed a letter saying, yeah, this is going to help. This is a good idea. Shame on every one of you, because it's not helping. Show us the data where it's helping. And all you did was enable this discriminatory and wildly ageist treatment of the people that built our society for us. Shame on you. No respect for our elders, no respect for people at the end of their life. And I pray to God, I'm going to be watching with popcorn. I will do whatever I have to do to help these people win this case, because it's the most disgusting, egregious case of discrimination that I have seen to date. And I can't wait for them to really feed it to this government, to really have it documented that this was blatantly discriminatory and violated these seniors' charter fundamental rights under the Charter of Rights and Freedoms. So I cannot wait, because I am fairly confident that this is a clear-cut case of wild discrimination.
Suck on that, everybody. Now you know why I'm afraid of the woman.
You know what? I'm only scary when I talk about this stuff. You know that I'm fun on the outside. Like I know. I talk to people and they're like, "Wow, you're funny." You're like, I didn't realize that, because you just look scary when you're talking about these very upsetting things. That I get that, because it gets me riled up. But I'm not normally scary.
No, you're not. The only thing that scared me was it was about 2 months ago when I got a text from you and you're like, I put up my Christmas tree. It was like September.
I did.
And I was like, are you fucking serious? You're like, yeah. And you sent me a picture of your Christmas tree, I believe, while you were watching a Halloween holiday baking show with a fucking pumpkin right in the middle. Yeah.
I was.
Yeah.
And I had the pumpkin.
Yeah, that's the most offensive part of you. Like, I am afraid of you, but I'm also wildly offended by the fact you put a fucking Christmas tree up for 4 months of the year. Seriously.
Listen, there's a lot going on, and you know what? My house, my rules. I just want the little things to make me happy in life, and there's nothing that makes me happier than a nice big lit up tree. And it's just ambiance, right? Like, come on, man. Life is hard these days. You need
but
to
listen,
smile.
September's
Take your wins.
Early. No. September's too early. It's like,
hold on. It wasn't September. It must have been
close.
early October. It was October. Come on.
It's like early October. Was that when you said? Yeah, it was like early October.
Too early.
Dude, she sent me a picture. Hang on. Viv sends me a picture. She's like, look at this. And I'm like, I looked at my watch. I looked at my fucking calendar. I'm like, so we got like 3 weeks to go until Halloween. What are you doing? She's like, I had to do it. I had to do it. I'm like, a Christmas thing. And then just, I'll get a picture of it. And then, the fascinating part was she's like, oh, look at my Christmas tree houses. And like, she's got Christmas tree houses out. And then she's got like a Halloween guy next to it. And then she's got a fucking big pumpkin. And she's got this huge tree in the corner. I'm like, I could never be, if I saw that tree when I walked in, if you and I went somewhere and I went back to your house and I saw that tree, like if I had come to your house and seen that tree in September, I would have probably taken it down.
Listen,
someone stole our Christmas tree from Sir Winston Churchill Square.
Did they really?
What?
You put a Christmas tree up in Sir Winston Churchill Square?
Yeah. Well, because they have this big tree thing every year.
Yeah.
And this past weekend would have been the lighting ceremony. So families go down, it gets dark.
Yeah.
They throw the lights, everybody goes, it's a big, huge,
everybody has a good
45, 50-foot
the
tree.
Tree lighting ceremonies. I love tree lighting ceremonies.
So they were supposed to do that this weekend and somebody canceled it. And you know what? Everyone's pointing fingers and blaming this person and that person and the business associations and this and that and da-da-da-da-da. And we were like, well, we'll go put a tree up. So we took our tree that gets put up in the control room every year.
Yeah.
And we just went down to the square and we put up a tree. And everyone's like, good job. So I sent Jimmy to check to see if the tree was still there, because his bus route into work is close. So he ran over there today and someone took it down. Someone took it over there. Dicks.
Well, that's just mean.
Yeah.
That's mean.
Yeah, but didn't you have like, I was reading about that Edmonton racist Christmas tree business. It's because the new mayor, no, seriously, I was reading about it. Like in the
mayor doesn't have anything to do with it.
It's seriously, I know it's not, but the mayor is not white, right? Of Edmonton.
So they think it's him, and they're like, no. It's
And
not.
So you know what
silly.
they did? It's Alberta, dude. It's like it wouldn't happen here. People would be too afraid to say this stuff. In Alberta, they're not. But you know what happened? So the mayor of Alberta, of Edmonton, is not white. And they decided not to do the Christmas tree lighting ceremony. And this is the first year he's been the new mayor of Edmonton, Alberta.
So they're
the
blaming
people
him.
of Edmonton are like, no Christmas tree? What a fucking white hater he is. Like they went off. And they were going off on how he's a different color individual. He doesn't get Christmas in Edmonton. I saw some of the tweets on Twitter. Of course they're on Twitter. I saw some of the tweets.
Why are they doing that? Like,
And I'm
come
like,
on,
Holy
relax.
shit, this is unbelievable. The names that they called your mayor for not having a Christmas tree up in Winston, I couldn't believe it. I was shocked. I'm like, holy fuck, these people. And these are people with like their names on their accounts too. I'm like, they don't care in Alberta. If something doesn't happen, it's racist, apparently.
Well, and they're going after, those people are going after the other city councilors and stuff like that, which I feel a little bad about because we kind of stoked the fire. We were just being funny, but we were like, we tagged our video with War on Christmas and stuff. And
yeah,
so we were not part of
further. Yeah.
But here's the thing. I said this morning, and I don't know, maybe you guys can justify, like, okay, so it's the Downtown Business Associations that's their decision, apparently. So they, as a group, decided to do something else instead of the tree. Okay, and the thing they're doing is great. They're going to decorate Rice Howard Way, and there's going to be, different art installations put in, and that's great. Good work. But people are clearly angry that the tree's not up. Just put a fucking tree up. Like, it's a tradition that's been around for years. We talked to one guy who says, I've lived here 60 years. Every year, my family goes down for the tree lighting ceremony. Every year. He's upset, and he's not even religious. To me, I even asked, I'm like, does the tree, like, you guys have made this about religion. What is the tree? Is it even a religious symbol? And no one knew. Like,
no, it's a pagan
nobody
symbol.
No, it's not even a religious symbol.
No, it's not.
Just,
no.
It's fucking Christmas. Christmas is something different for everybody. I'm the least religious person you will ever meet. I am actually anti-religious, if we're being honest.
Me too.
But I celebrate Christmas because I like Christmas because my kids come home. I get to get drunk with my kids. And we put a tree up.
Goals.
It's fun.
Hashtag goals.
Hashtag living the dream.
Yeah.
Hashtag
Tree.
family
Put
drunk.
With my kids.
Put the tree up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Who cares? I don't
Listen,
care what color your skin
I'm
is. I
okay
don't
with the
color what
tree.
your last name is. I just put the fucking tree up. It's that simple. Hey, you can
not
be a
that hard.
hero now.
I
This
don't
was a
mind it.
misstep.
I don't mind it.
Yeah. So that's what we did. And then they took it down, the bastards.
You're just trying to spread Christmas cheer. But, dude, you didn't put it up in July like Vivian.
Okay. Simmer down. It wasn't it was October. You know what? I needed it.
You should get some kind of
I needed the
ticket,
love.
like a bylaw.
Get out of here. I should get a your awesome ticket. I should get a your awesome ticket for playing by your own rules. P.S. You play by your own rules.
No,
Yeah.
someone
you're
should
cool,
be visiting you.
and I
Someone
don't
should
care.
be visiting you at night to make sure you're okay.
Yeah.
I am fantastic. Thank you. I'm fan-fucking-tastic. Oh, my God, I didn't swear. That's the only time you're going to hear me say that. On Dean's show.
Oh, whatever, dude. Listen, I've heard you swear like 1,000 times. I'll tell you this: all those people that watch Vivian on all those TV shows,
get Viv's
like
address
CTV,
out to somebody,
CBC,
please.
I'm going to haul it out right now. The way that she goes through those interviews and she's so professional and she's telling everybody what's going on. I'll tell you this: when she hangs up that Zoom call, that is a different mouth. I'll tell you that right now. The same finger pointing. I'm gonna get you. Watch out. That comes with the new vocabulary when there's no camera.
I do have a potty mouth when I get upset. When I do.
What's your favorite? What's your favorite swear?
I don't know.
I have one that
F feels something
MF?
about the F bomb.
MF?
I'm not. Like there's just I don't know. Things just come out when you're angry. But I don't swear in media interviews, so I'm good that way. This is the only time I drop that F bomb.
We're not
with
media.
I already feel immediately guilty, but
you need to relax. Yeah, you need to relax because what I'm going to do the next time I hang out with you, I'm going to hit record on my phone, and I'm going to play everybody.
I was gonna give you something there.
Unfiltered vid. listen, it's unrealistic. Go ahead, give me the finger. Yeah, okay. You just swore at me with your hands. It's the same
Well,
thing.
I didn't have to say it. I know.
Yeah, I know. But that's what you should do in your CTV interviews. You really want to knock the world dead? You really want people to pay attention to you? You do one of these. Hey, Doug Ford, can you hear this, or do you want me to turn it up? Or reach into your pocket. Hey, Doug Ford, I can't swear, but fuck you. You should do that. You should do some of that, too. I don't see why you don't. You should.
Gotta keep it professional.
Before we let you go, I want to say Viv is one of my very good friends. She did something today that I thought was spectacular. She got a mammogram.
First one.
How old are you, Viv?
Excuse me, you do not ask a woman that. But let's say I am
50.
I'm 50. You're supposed to get mammogram in Canada. Here's the thing that bothered me. And I'm going to shout out to Karen Lieberman right now for this, because it was her story recently that really pushed me to do it.
The reporter, Karen Lieberman?
Yeah, she's awesome. So she did a story on how in Canada, we only start doing these mammograms at 50 plus. But in the States, they start at 40. And I'm like, what? How are we not screening earlier? And her story was on, this woman with no pre-existing, breast cancer in the family who got it and almost died. And they're like, please go get tested sooner. So I'm like, and I talked to none of my, in your 40s, women aren't talking about this because you're not offered the option until you start seeing stories like this. And you're like, oh, maybe I should go, right? Get it checked out. And even when I went today, it was a painless, and it was funny because I called one of my girlfriends after, Kathy, I'm watching, because I gave her a hard time about this. She's like, no, I heard it's painful. I don't want to go. I'm like, literally, it was 5 minutes. The lady was lovely. I think the most uncomfortable part was just having to take your top off, in front of someone else who you're not dating. No alcohol.
Tarps off.
No, you know what I mean? Point is, that was the most
said when you walked in.
Part.
Did she say tarps off when you walked in?
Tarps.
Hey, tarps off.
No, she's take it off. Take it off.
Off.
And, I'm like, all right, let's do this. I'm like,
was there some Kenny G playing when you walked in? No.
You would hope, right? There's some soft jazz. There's some, what was it? We were saying a charcuterie table.
A nice charcuterie board, maybe a glass of wine. Just to, listen, if you want to go, you're going to go in and have someone fondle your chest.
Less awkward for the ladies.
Yeah, make it romantic, if you will, like some Zamfir, Master of the Pan Flute, maybe some Nosh. Yeah.
But listen, it was honestly, it was
Roger
painless.
Whittaker.
It took 5 minutes, totally painless, a little uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Just with one boob, boob breast, that was uncomfortable. But I mean, really, it was nothing. I've had far greater discomfort in a whole other variety of ways. So this was nothing. And I immediately felt better for getting done. And even the lady who did the test was like, yeah, it's a good thing you coming in a little earlier, get a baseline set up, and now we'll have this to go on every year, which is, I just feel immediately better. So women, you have to ask for it. You have to go do it.
I have a question. Put a bow on this whole thing, though. I listen. I understand what you're dealing with, Dr. Vivian, and the healthcare system, and your advocacy group, and the battle ahead of you. I think what we have to do as collectively as citizens, regardless of whether you're in Alberta, Ontario, East, it doesn't matter. You have to make sure that you make these issues an issue in your district. And then the other thing, and this is something that I learned when we had kids. And again, this is not a condemnation of the healthcare system in Canada, because I think we're very, very lucky to have what we do have, as broken as it is right now. And the thing that I've learned, though, is you have got to fight for your own rights. I mean, I've got
you got to push it. You're saying you got to push the issue with a lot of people. Like if you want a mammogram, you want a colonoscopy, you need to be the person that says no, not till 50 now. Is that what you're saying?
My daughter, we got pushed around and neglected on her tonsils, and she was getting tonsillitis, I'd say 4 times a year. And we were on a wait list, and then this list, and then that specialist. And then I finally went into our family doctor, and I lost my shit. I said, listen, they're the size of oranges. I had mine out when I was 5. She has been sick for 3 years straight. I want these frickin' things out of her head. now. Find me a doctor. And I was yelling and guess what happened? Because this is the first time Dad visited with the doctor. Guess what happened? Before I got out of there, I had an appointment with a specialist, and we found a doctor that was going to do it. And a week later, she was in a bed getting her tonsils removed.
Amazing.
It's unfortunate, but there's too many stories about things like that. You have to fight for things sometimes because
and sometimes you don't know what you should be fighting for, that it is an option, right?
That's a bigger issue. I think, the fact that you had to go in and demand to get this procedure that should have been done, at an earlier point is an example of where our healthcare system is, right? Like you got to take control. You got to take the reins of your own. And unfortunately, we are in a position now where, like, we saw this with Grant on the show. He fell and hurt his arm really bad and went home. He bled all night. I know he was dealing with blood loss the next morning. And he goes, I'm like, why didn't you go to the hospital? He goes, I didn't want to be there for 16 hours. Because he knew if he went in at 10 o'clock at night, he was going to be there all night in a waiting room. He was going to miss the show, and he was going to get stitches probably at the same time he did when he went in, because he waited 5 hours. He left at 9:30, got to went online, checked to see which wait times were, and got stitches that he needed at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Jeez. And he probably wouldn't have got those stitches until 4 o'clock in the afternoon if he had gone to the Edmonton emergency room.
Well, dude, and that's kind of the fascinating thing about where we're at right now too is that I talked to someone yesterday while we had him on the podcast, Jesse Miller, and he was talking about before we got in how both of his kids are sick, but he doesn't want to go to emerge, so he's separated his kids from each other so one doesn't give the other thing something, and he separated the husband and the husband and the mom, like Jesse and his wife, so like they're all living in separate parts and the only reason is because this is what Jesse said. He's like, dude, I don't want to sit in the hospital for 20 hours breathing in everybody else's sick air, so we're just trying to manage it without going to the hospital, right? So that's a lot of people. That's me.
Wrong.
We're gonna have so many problems down the pike, so much preventable, disease and later stage illnesses we're going to be seeing. It's just going to get worse. And if they don't start throwing money at the problem and doing the things they need to do, like repealing these bills that actively target the public sector healthcare workers, I mean, we're screwed. We're so screwed. It's just going to keep getting worse.
And I've been careful. I mean, Danielle Smith, I mean, you can say whatever you want about her, and I don't know what her plan is, and she's announcing something today. And of course, politicians are never going to agree. Whatever she said she thought she would do, or 2 years ago, I don't care. But none of these politicians have had the answer. So we can sit here and be critical of.
Well, we got bad politicians in place. That's the problem.
Well, we do, but none of them politically, regardless of what stripes they're wearing, have been able to fix this issue, right? So I don't know. Like, I'll hear her Danielle Smith out, even though she's probably By the way, I just tweeted the QAnon bingo card for tonight's television address. You're going for an X.
Yeah.
Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. Do not listen to that woman ever, ever, ever. It will get you nowhere.
Don't. No, she's like, apparently she's going to go address the province of Alberta and go, just so you know, we're going to start a GoFundMe for healthcare in this province. And you can just take $80
it might work. 50-50s. We love 50-50s in Alberta.
Viv, go ahead.
I have people asking in DMs about my favorite Christmas movie. I think it's the cutest thing ever because I have like 8 million favorite Christmas movies, and one I know. I got it. The people are asking. I'm looking at the chat right now.
Every time I call you or you call me, you're watching a Hallmark Christmas movie. And
I have a problem every single time. It's on literally loop, and they started earlier this year. That was on before Halloween. And I know, but you know what? It's family fun. There's always a happy ending. There's no murder. It's when you're talking about this stuff all day, and you said you're in these podcasts that get depressing because we're talking about stuff that is not great. And I need to tune off after and watch happy stuff where nothing goes wrong and it's not realistic and everyone at the end falls in love and blah, blah, blah.
It's all the same
but
story.
It makes me feel good.
Every single Hallmark thing. Let me take you through it. I'll take you through the fucking Hallmark Christmas bullshit that gets all these people hooked, specifically girls and women who love love stories. I hate love stories. Love stories gross me out, so I'll never watch it. But I've watched a couple of them. No, I'm telling you the truth. This is the formula.
PTSD.
I do. I got PTSD. Viv, you know that. So the true story. If I watch a Hallmark and I watched one where it was like this, there's always a widow. There's always a troubled kid, and there's always a new partner that just moves to town because they just got divorced and someone else took their kid. And then magically they meet up in some kind of weird, chaotic situation where a moose comes to town and destroys a couple cars, but the two cars that were destroyed were the widow and the new person that came to town. And then they meet their kids, and the kid's like, I'm going to kill myself. It's like, no, you're not, because now we have a family and we're going to celebrate Christmas. And then everybody celebrates Christmas, and little Jimmy gets a drum set, and there's love in the air, and everybody goes for a walk at the end of it, and it is totally unrealistic.
Guess what? Somebody shot that fucking moose in the square,
and
then they ate it for Christmas.
Made jerky out of it.
My favorite Christmas movie for all those people that are actually interested in the Hallmark movies. Okay, so I can't remember the name. Whoever everyone's that's into the Christmas movies. But it's based on a true story, which is why I love it even more. So there's a girl, and she's in a nursing program, very apropos right now with everything. And she realizes she passes out one day, and they take her for testing, and she finds out she's in stage 4 liver disease, and she needs a liver transplant immediately. This is a true story. This is a true story. It's a true story.
She gets the moose liver.
Yeah, some guy, they put out all these flyers in the community, and then this guy volunteers to go see if they have the same, if it's a match.
DNA.
And it was. So they do the transplant right before Christmas, and then they fell in love and got married.
That's
and it's a true story. I swear to God, they were on Good Morning America. Go Google it.
I made it up.
I'm going to send it to you. It's a true story, and I love that movie, and I can watch it over and over and over. It makes me so happy.
Liver transplant.
Hold on, I have one.
Let's look it up.
I have one.
I'm telling you, it's true. I will find it.
Dr. Viv.
Talk to me.
I have one, and you need to watch it. And then next time we have you on, I want you to tell me if this one compares, or if it can end up on your list of favorites for Christmas.
Okay.
The Family Stone.
Oh yeah, I know that one with the Canadian actress. What's her name?
Yes.
Rachel McAdams. I haven't seen it, but I know of it, but I haven't seen it. I want to see it.
Oh my God, it's so good. We watch it every year when the girls when they come home for Christmas and I get drunk. We watch it.
A Family Stone. Okay, I'm gonna watch it.
Family Stone. Yeah.
You're talking about part of Christmas Miracles, or Once Upon a Christmas Miracle. Is
that it? Yeah. I told you it's real. I told you.
Here are movie details. Tell me if you'd watch this, Locke. I can tell you this: if this was on and someone's like, I can.
Is this the one where she got the Spinal Tap,
or you can watch this movie
in the public square after it
I would
destroyed
take
a bunch
the
of
Spinal Tap. No different.
Oh my gosh, you too.
Product based on a true story. Once Upon a Christmas Miracle tells a romantic story of Heather Kruger and Chris Dempsey before the holiday. Heather discovers she needs a life-saving liver transplant because she drank herself almost to death. Despite the
she was not drinking.
I added that part. Despite the odds of finding a donor, she's shocked when a stranger named Chris volunteers half of his liver.
It's a true story. People do this.
Wait, I'm not done. As Heather and Chris form a special bond, they wonder if their closeness goes beyond the connection of sharing a fucking organ.
That's not in there either, is it?
They fell in love.
And must decide if Chris's selfless act is the beginning of a beautiful love story. Indeed, it was. Yeah,
they bump
your story.
Love it.
Do they bump uglies?
Oh yeah, they get it
on. This is a Hallmark movie, okay? Yeah. It's PG-13. It is lovely. Yeah. I loved it.
The cut scenes, you know what's happening in there. They're taking those new livers.
You guys are jaded. Stop. It is family fun and it is lovely.
They have
my favorite Christmas movie, without question, is the Jimmy Stewart one. It's a Wonderful Life.
Yeah. It's a Wonderful Life.
It's the best movie ever. That's the best Christmas movie. That and Elf. Watched Spirited the other day with Ryan Reynolds and Will Ferrell. It's great.
I could not get through the first 10 minutes.
Too much singing. There's too much singing. It's like everybody's it's like
a musical
city. No, and I don't want listen, I don't want Ryan Reynolds singing and dancing and jumping around. I want him killing people, swearing and being offside. That's what I want. Same with Will Ferrell. I don't want Will Ferrell singing throughout the entire movie, and it is the entire movie, Viv. To your point,
no.
Really?
I could not get through 10 minutes. I was watching it with Barry, you know, and we were like, nope, can't do it. Can't do it.
I hate musicals.
I do
No,
too.
it-
You know, he
it's
ruined,
not for me.
literally fucking ruined a Christmas movie. Like Will Ferrell and Ryan Reynolds. That's a home run, no matter where I am, no matter what I'm doing.
I'm
And
disappointed.
I turned this
I love
on,
Will
and I got all the way to the end, and I was super
I can't
fucking
believe
mad
you
that
went
I
all the
gave
way
two.
to the end.
Me
No,
too. Me too. It's the stupidest thing I've ever done.
couldn't do it.
It's better than watching the Hallmark. Oh yeah, I was stoned. It's better than watching the Hallmark movie where two people with shitty livers get together.
Okay, you
but-
know what?
Is
Stop.
it? Hold on. Was that? Did you watch Spirited when you were on shrooms?
No,
Okay.
I did, as a matter of fact. Yeah,
See,
And it
that's
still
why you
wasn't
got
good.
through it.
it still wasn't good,
Yeah,
but
I
it
could
was
not get
way
through it.
better. Like if I hadn't had some kind of edible before I watched Spirited, I might have
You
just
would've
thrown my
lasted 10
TV out the
minutes like
window.
me.
It was that
Not even
fucking
10
bad.
minutes. Yeah, I
What's
didn't
that?
even
Not
last
even
10
10 minutes? Oh, it's
And
the best decision you ever made, Viv. Not watching that. You
Yeah.
saved yourself an
No,
hour and
it
45
was-
of just terror.
Yeah.
All right, I'm
No,
not
I-
watching it. I
Oh,
was
it's
gonna watch
so
it.
bad.
I was gonna break my no musical rule.
You know, don't do it.
Oh, I
It's
hate
awful.
musicals.
No, don't
So
do it.
bad. So bad. I couldn't watch it. That's the thing is like musicals are the new West Side Story that came out. Anybody watch that? I didn't watch it because
No.
it's a musical, right?
Cats?
Anytime someone's like, you want
I
to go
didn't
see a
watch
musical? I'm like,
Cats.
no, I don't want to watch it. Cats? That's not even a movie.
I haven't seen any of it.
Yeah.
No.
That's why we get along. Because you're like me. You're like, other than the movies about sharing livers at Christmas, we're the same. Kinda, right?
We got
Little
some
bit.
similarities. Yeah.
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 You scare me, I scare everybody else.
You don't scare me though.
No, I know that. Dr. Vivian Stamatopoulos, before I let you go,
It's been a
want to
pleasure.
quickly, what's that?
It's been a pleasure, fellas.
Oh, it's awesome having you. It's so good. But before I let you go, these guys, the Ontario Health Coalition and ACE need money.
yeah. They
Yeah.
need, well, keep in mind it's going to cost, almost $500,000 to do this charter challenge, and they're nonprofit organizations, right? So they fundraise, they raise money.
Here we
So
go.
anyone, literally, like the links are all there on the Ontario Healthcare Coalition. $10, whatever, $20, whatever you can do, anything. Because like
Did we put the
anything.
Did we put the links up on the description
Dean,
of the
did
show?
you?
I didn't today, but I'm
So-
going to this afternoon. Go to Twitter, and you can also go to your Twitter, right? Dr. Vivian.
Yeah, I
S.
did. I did put it on one of the tweets. I can
Yeah.
like add it to a link or something. But it's like Ontario Health
No,
Coalition.
pin it. Just pin it.
How do I?
Dr.
I'll find
Viv,
it.
Just
Oh,
pin
here
it
we
to
go.
the top of
Here
your
we go.
Twitter.
Hold on.
Yeah, then we'll tweet it out.
can I
Just
not
pin it to
share
the
with
top of your-
everyone in here? Oh, because then I'm gonna lose the one I
Awesome.
have there, and I'll be all confused.
Oh, there we go. I got it right here.
Somebody-
Twitter, Dr. Vivian S. Let's get it out here. Yeah, there we go.
We're-
$25 a
we're
person is
all
doable.
And I'll keep retweeting it. I'll keep retweeting it, and I'm yeah. So
Okay.
yeah,
Good.
this one's important. It's got to be fought. We have to. It has to get struck down. It's just terrible.
Well, that's
and no
I mean
one's saying-
that's the answer here, right? Like that's what we need to be pushing, right? About getting the word out, making sure that we're
By the way,
All right.
not necessarily a Christmas movie, but for what it's worth, the Saucy Sea Witch says she recommends Moana or Encanto when doing
Okay.
shrooms. Absolutely lovely.
Well, I
So
don't do shrooms, but for
I'll
you,
come on. Yeah, you will if I come over.
I will not. I do not like drugs. I like being in control. I do not like drugs.
Do
They
you
make me
ever?
feel out
You
of
and I
control.
are a lot alike in that. I don't like. I did
Yeah.
acid.
You
at
two would kill each
Lollapalooza in
other.
'92, and
I could never. No, I know. The only thing I
Awful.
can handle is alcohol. I cannot handle any hard drugs. No way.
Yeah.
I used to
well,
think
then
That's for
I'll,
you,
I'll come over
fellas.
and do
For
shrooms,
you,
and you can
yeah.
get drunk. How's that sound?
Okay.
Party.
Sounds like
Party.
a Christmas. Yeah.
Christmas
Then we'll-
party.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna make you watch Hallmark movies.
Okay,
That's the
I
rule
will
of
do
my
that.
place.
Listen, I'll watch a Hallmark movie with you, but you got to watch a movie I pick after that.
Pulp Fiction.
Okay.
Pulp
I
Fiction.
want to watch. Pulp
I've never
Fiction
seen
again.
it. I
Are
will
you
watch
serious?
it. No, I've never
That's
seen it.
hang up.
I'll
one of the
watch it.
greatest Christmas movies of all time.
Hang up on her.
I haven't seen
It's
a
a
lot
comedy.
of really good movies. I gotta
You
watch
haven't?
it. I know.
Oh
no,
my
I haven't
God,
seen.
you-
What's the other one I really want to see? Like the best movie in the world. Everyone always says, "Come on, Morgan Freeman." Everyone always talks about this
Shawshank
movie.
Redemption.
Yes, I haven't seen Shawshank as well.
What?
I
Can we be
know.
friends? I don't even think we can be
know.
friends.
I know.
I don't think
have to
we're
do
going to
this.
be friends after the Shawshank Redemption's one of them. Like it's like
I know. I
everybody has
want to
see
watch it. find it. Tell me if it's on Netflix or Prime or wherever it is. I'll track
Have
it
you
down.
seen?
send you the
Have you
link.
seen Bad Santa?
I've seen some of it. It was funny. I've seen some of
Yeah.
it. Not all of it,
Yeah.
but I have seen
That's
some of it.
one of my favorite Christmas
I have
movies.
seen Die Hard. I have seen Die Hard. I see everyone talking about Die Hard.
That's a Christmas movie too. Yeah. No, Bad Santa is one of my favorite. It has my favorite line from any Christmas movie in any movie ever,
Please
where
don't
he's
talk
like,
about it here. Oh, no.
"You ain't gonna shit right for a week."
Oh, Dean. Okay, on that note.
See ya. Good to see you again.
Been a pleasure, boys.
Take care, Dr.
Dr. Vivian Stamatopoulos at Dr. Vivian S. Great to see you. I'll call you later.
Bye.
Take care. There you go, Vivian.
Where's this tweet?
Fucking awesome.
What
tweet?
makes my blood pressure go up? I literally wrote down, phone your doctor while she was on.
No, you didn't.
I did. I
Did
wrote
you really?
down, please
Call your doctor.
phone Dr. Spack.
You're stressed out. This is the email. If you go to Ontario Health C, or Ontario Health Coalition, they want to raise some funds to cover the cost of the Charter Challenge. To give a sense of the work they do, they need to find 500 people donate 1,000, 20,000 people donate 2,500. You can break that down wherever way you like. They'll just take your money. And if you feel like sticking up for some of our oldest and most marginalized sick Ontarians, that is a great place for you to start. Just go to Dr. Vivian S. and all the information is right there. Pin tweet.
You know what is interesting about Dr. Viv is that she's done the work, right? She's done the work for us. And then we can go on and continue to ignore these things, right? Because she did all the legwork.
But you know what?
Right?
It's like, I
So-
was talking to her about it yesterday, and I'm like,
I didn't mean
You know
that.
what?
Like,
It's a
I didn't
shame.
say I was
No, but
gonna
you're
ignore
right.
it. But that's what we do. We just
Yeah.
we bury our heads in the sand because we don't want the stress of knowing how screwed up our world is. And there's not enough people like Dr. Viv around and we need them, right? Jesus, where's that tweet? I was going to retweet that tweet you just posted. Why can't I find that one?
It's in the chat section. Not in the chat section. Private chat.
I'm on her Twitter.
No, she put it in the private chat. So you can just bring it up and cut and paste it and then retweet it.
All right. Okay. I'll do that later.
I just retweeted it too. You can go to my Twitter.
Oh, perfect. Okay. I'll
Start
do
donating.
yours.
Yeah.
All
Yeah,
right.
you can do that. There you go. You going to do that right now? Right in the middle of the show?
No, I'm not. Yeah, I am. Totally doing it right now. I need to exercise my demons, my Dr. Viv demons. Like, she's terrifying.
Yeah. Dude, can you imagine? Imagine like
So-
getting pulled over and having her riding shotgun. She's like the ultimate weapon. She's
You've
an
been
academic.
pulled over
She's
with her in
smart.
the car?
No, I want to be though. I want to get pulled over and have her in the car and go, "Can you just deal with this guy?"
No, I don't think that's a good idea. I think
Can
you'd
you
both
talk
be
this
going to
guy
jail.
out of
You'd
the-
be getting tasered.
No, she'd figure it out. Seriously.
Yeah, okay.
No one's getting tasered. And if anybody gets tasered, it'll be her. So I'll just lean back like this. Right across. Hit her with the prongs. And be like,
Yeah.
Thought she'd get me out of it. Made it worse.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't even know if a
Ah.
taser would even affect her. She'd probably still keep going. Take it right
She's
out of their hands.
indomitable.
Give it back.
She's
to them.
indomitable. Do you know how many people are scared of her in this province? Like every politician
Yeah.
that has anything to do with any kind of healthcare thing is like petrified of that woman. She is a one-woman wrecking
Yeah.
crew. And it's all about helping other people, right? All of it. Everything she does is about
like
helping other
we
people.
need people. We need more people like her around. You
Mhm.
know what I mean? Like that's the point of this. And the thing is, you need to amplify those voices as well. When you have somebody like this in your life, you need to make sure that you take the time to, again, and stop worrying about all these fucking rules about, I only my Twitter is for this, my Facebook. No, you amplify voices like that so that the word gets out, so that in case we can stumble upon somebody who has an extra $25 to throw at the cause, something actually gets done. Because the thing is, the reason why these organizations and these political figures continue to do the things they do is because they get away with it. We are very compliant in this country. We're too compliant. Canadians like to say sorry, and they like to bury their heads in the sand. And then it's unfortunate. It is. And if we all take a deep look at ourselves, we can all come up with examples of when we've done this ourselves, right? We're not part of the solution. We're more often than not, we are effectively part of the problem. And anyway, so when I see somebody doing something like that, I don't care if that's in my timeline. I don't care what people think about that.
Yeah.
That woman is doing good.
Oh, and she is, like I said, indomitable. Like nothing will prevent her because she's got a personal connection to it. Lost her grandmother in a shitty long-term care home. So she goes to the end of the world. She ruins her day for this, right? That's how important she thinks this is, because she wants people to have a good end of life experience. But it's amazing. And you bring that up where you're like, we can go on ignoring them. It's like anything to do with an old person or old folks home. It's like we fucking hear it or see it and we go, whatever. They're going to die anyway. Who cares? That's why most of them suffered during the pandemic, right? Like a lot of old people died. The vast majority of the people that died, if you were going to put it down to a demo, is a senior person in a facility that had a terrible living experience, terrible quality of life, right? And so, for guys like us, like I'd rather come on here and talk about all kinds of other things. Like I wanted to talk about Elon Musk. Did you hear how he fired all the hardcore employees today too? I want to talk about that. I'm like, you remember? And I can't because like, it's not sexy to talk about seniors that are being abused. It's not cool. It's not fun, but it's fucking happening. And their rights are being taken away. And so to your point, when you have someone like Dr. Vivian Stamatopoulos, who knows this shit inside out, she's done the work for us. She lays it out so that you can help. You're a fool if you don't. You're a fool if you don't. You're a fool if you don't advocate for the greater good of people that can't advocate for themselves. Yeah. And you know what? That's what makes us better people. That's what makes a society that sings, right? Is us helping other people when we can. It's not about doing what's best for you or your reputation. Like, it's not cool to tweet, oh, you can send $25 to a long-term care facility court challenge so that we can give old dying people their human rights back that were taken away from them, right? It's not enough to just go, well, that's nice, or, oh, there's people out there doing the work. We got to get involved. Like, you need to do this. And I'm reminded of that because of the stuff in Alberta, right? Today, your premier is going to stand up at the stump and she's going to go, okay, private healthcare, here's how we're going to do it. Big GoFundMe thing. And just get used to reaching into your pockets because she's enriching all the people. It's the same thing. It's the same thing. And so if 4 million Albertans and 15 million Ontarians... I don't know
if she wants to do that. I'm not positive that. I'm not sure it's fair to say that she has plans to do that. Not only that, she's not going to be around. It was... She wanted to take the money away from the organizations that dole out cash because of her perceived, and I could be misrepresenting what this was, and it was a paper she wrote or something a couple years ago, and so people are highlighting it as her plan for healthcare. But one of her ideas, from what I understand, was everybody in the province would get a certain amount of money in an account that was for healthcare. But the province, instead of giving it to the healthcare system, would give it to you. So Dean Blundell would have $500. And from that, you could use that to actually pay for whatever visits you need, your doctor, whatever treatments, medications. So I kind of, and I don't know where the idea came from. I don't know why she wrote it down. There seems to be a lot of this type of stuff. But again, I think where she comes from, if you, I'm starting to pick up on this, she doesn't trust anybody. And this is these people that don't trust anybody, want to take away power from all of these organizations. And you know what? The reason why she's going to get some support is because she's got a point. These are wildly
abusive,
dysfunctional organizations that are corrupt in their own right. And they have like boards with 25 people sitting on them, all making hundreds of thousands of dollars, all getting weird bonuses, and yet we still have a guy who hurts himself in Div 7 men's hockey at 10 o'clock at night and goes home and bleeds into his mattress for 6-7 hours before coming into work because he knows he's not going to get any help at and that's just one example of a recent thing that happened in my life.
Yeah.
Right. He knows
hold
if he goes to the hospital, he's going to be there for almost a day to get 4 stitches.
But it's kind of always been the case. It hasn't been that bad, but it's always been the case. Like, and I
We
talked
have
to
always
David
had a
about this a
system
couple months ago, and I'm like,
has been on
how
the
do you
verge of
make a privatization and all the other shit that's coming up, and how they're trying to decide that they want to fuck over our healthcare system? He goes, dude, listen, it was broken before this. Like,
Yes.
you know, this is a problem in Canada. This is a uniquely Canadian issue where you get universal health care, but the payoff is that, yeah, it's free. You're going to be sitting around for a while for that free service, though. It's just kind of part of the deal.
I'll also tell you something else that a lot of people don't want to hear. We have had a privatization of our healthcare system for a long time.
Oh, yeah.
If you have means, you get things done.
Well, to your point, I got an executive physical a number of years ago, right? There's a place in Toronto that's like, give us $1,500, come here for 4 or 5 hours. We'll give you the whole workup, the whole thing. You got to go in with your card, your healthcare card. I think it's like $2,000 now. And I can't remember the name of it. But when I signed my last contract, when I was on the radio, they're like, we got to get you to have a physical. And I'm like, yeah, sure. What kind? It's like an executive physical. I'm like, ooh, great. We'll pay for it. I'm like, what do you mean you'll pay for it? Physicals are free. They're like, no, not at this level, kid. I'm like, okay, great. So I go to this office building downtown, and I go into this office, beautiful, and they give me some, sign some stuff. And it's like literally walking into a home, right? It's like, oh, this is nice. Yeah. And you drink the barium and you're going to do your stuff. And I was there for 4 or 5 hours, got the full workup. And I'm like, this is incredible. I got results that day. I got results as I was doing it, not 6 weeks, not 6 months. Like cervical exams, pap smear, you got to wait a year for it. Hello, cervical cancer. So to your point, you're 100% right. There are lots of options for people that want private health care, right? And it's here. Mm-hmm. It's happening. Will it alleviate part of the system? Not really, not the way it's set up. And are they doing this to alleviate the system? No, they're doing this to enrich their friends. They're not decreasing wait times. It's still the same thing. But there are lots of healthcare options for people with money, and they don't talk about it, right? They don't walk around going, poor fuckers. I got my pap smear results in a half hour because I paid for it. It exists in this country, and it is a proliferation in this province. And I happen to think it's okay if you can afford it. What I'm talking about is removing services from people who can't and nickel and diming them and making them pay for it. That's what we're seeing. Privatization of blood work clinics, privatization of rehab clinics, all that stuff, right? So there's two different things. And I think when people talk about privatization of healthcare, they talk about it in terms of, well, listen, that means that person gets something I don't. Well, yes. And if you find that unfair, it's just the way it works, right? And is it unfair? I guess if you don't have the kind of money that guy has and that guy can afford better healthcare in this country, it's not one healthcare for everybody in this country. It never has been. There's always been options. Shouldice, Shouldice Clinic, great example. It is a money-making mansion in Toronto that just does hernias. That's it. They just do hernia surgery. That's the only thing they do. I had a friend that went in for hernia surgery. He was there for 3 days. He didn't want to leave because it was private, right? He's like, I got cookies, I got coffee, I got Jell-O, I got everything. I got my own room, I got TV, I played fucking pool. He's like, I wanted to stay another few days. It's like a resort, but again, private, right? So it's like literally all over the place, to your point. It's
if
just
I have a hernia, I'm going to wait I'll probably wait a year, maybe 2 to get that fixed. I got a thing on my hand. I've had it since 2015, and I still haven't had it removed. Yeah. I bring it up every time I see my family doctor. Every time I show him, he's like,
"What does he say?
Did they call?" I'm like, "No." He's like, "What's going on?" And then he sits down and sends an email to somebody, and then I get a call on my way home. They're going, someone's going to call you from this clinic.
Nothing.
Yeah, our system has been broken for a long, long time. I don't know what the answer is, and I just know that I know it's everyone knows it's broken. Everyone knows it's broken, right?
It is.
It's broken.
But the good news is, now that you're a slumlord, you could really afford the executive healthcare package.
I have no money. Like, I have money to buy beer.
That's it. Beer.
Yeah.
How'd you do yesterday in your hangover, by the way, before I let you go? Did you nurse it?
I went, you know what? After I got off the podcast, me and the pooch, we went for a long walk. And that really helped. That cleared my head. Yeah.
Did you have another drink?
It was an idea to not drink yesterday. Yeah. Like I said, I workshopped it. I felt a little bit better around dinner time, so I may have slugged a couple of beers at dinner.
I love you, man. You're the best. Yesterday morning, you wanted to cut your own head off. By 6 o'clock, you're like, let's have another champagne of beers. Let's go for it. Let's go Bud Light. Let's do it. Anyway, great to see you.
All right.
It was a lot of fun. Well, actually, it wasn't a lot of fun. It was fun.
It was fucking stressful.
Pretty sobering.
Tomorrow when we have to do shows like this every once in a while. I agree with you. I think it definitely needs to happen for sure. Right? We can have a fun show where we talk about, whatever. We talk about Elon Musk or, my shower head. We can have shows like that, but it's not a bad idea to bring in and give us some perspective. Dr. Viv, right?
No.
Even though,
and you know what, if you asked her,
legitimately want a blood pressure test now.
If you asked her about your shower head issue, she would have a comment on that too.
I know, but we didn't get there. We got to some horrible Christmas movies. All right, buddy.
Talk to you soon, dude.
Hey, are we watching the game tomorrow?
Yeah. Team Canada?
Yeah, are
Belgium,
we watching
Canada?
soccer?
Yeah, we are.
I've decided to noon. It's noon my time. So we'll be in the middle of this podcast. We'll have to keep it on in the back.
You know what we'll do is we'll go at 4.
You want to go a little bit late?
We'll
How
go
long
at 4.
is the soccer game?
It'll go till, so it's 90 minutes. It'll be about 2.5 hours run time, stoppage time, all that stuff should be about 2 hours. So you're looking at noon.
Let's go for
till
2 my time.
That'll be 4 my time. We should buttress right up against the end of the soccer game. Canada World Cup action. Have you watched any of this yet? You watched?
No. I decided I'm gonna watch Canada. I'm not I don't watch soccer. I'm not a
it's
soccer
awesome, dude.
fan.
You'd love it. It's literally like I've watched England, Iran. That was fun. 6-2. Watch that. Watched Saudi Arabia beat Argentina yesterday, or maybe it was this morning.
I know that.
Massive. Yeah, huge story. But I've been watching it. It's actually been pretty good. Some of the stadiums are fucking incredible.
The thing I have a problem with, and again, I was joking, like, you can be upset at Elon Musk and disagree with what he's doing with Twitter and all that, but taking a stand, I'm getting off Twitter. No one gives a shit if Lachlan Cross isn't on Twitter anymore.
No, or Dean. No one cares.
No one cares. I'm not a figure that's going to have an impact on the world that we live in that regard, right? I am wildly bothered by the FIFA stories and the human rights issues from Qatar. And I was like, well, maybe I won't watch soccer. And then I'm like, do they care? But here, if I'm giving anybody, if you want a reason to watch soccer, I'll give you a reason. Okay. Yeah. And I saw this on deanblundell.com, soon to have a new name. When? Jesus Christ, Dean, when are you making the announcement?
Don't know. Next week. Next
I
week,
don't
why
know.
you get annoyed that we're not making the announcement yet?
Well, you keep.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
teasing. I'm teasing.
Okay.
Tease.
All right.
It's like a
So
little
anyway,
tickle.
well,
It's
not
the
only that,
rim job of teases.
I've stopped putting new merch stuff up because I'm waiting for the change. Like you should have Dean Blundell underwear. I put locker room underwear up. I've stopped updating your shop because I'm waiting for the fucking thing to change.
So are we.
Okay.
I can't give you a timeline. We just finished doing some VenCap. We've got a couple of big announcements to make. We've got a new partnership to announce. I can't. It's venture capital. Yeah, it's asking people, begging for money. Effectively, it works.
All right.
We just finished a huge deal with GG Poker, and we're timing the deal and the announcement with the name change.
Okay. All right. Keep me posted.
So it's coming.
Coming soon.
Coming soon.
New Dean Blundell show underwear with the new name of the.
I like it.
We're gonna do underwear. Okay.
Yeah.
Should we do ladies?
Oh yeah.
Where was I? I was talking about soccer. Why am I here?
It's you, bud.
Okay. Anyway, the soccer, watching it. Budweiser. Reason. Budweiser. Okay, I've got it back. Okay. So I saw this on your webpage.
Yeah.
Qatar canceled everyone's ability to drink in Qatar at the last minute. They called, they pulled the pin. They said, no, we're going back on our original plan. You can't drink unless you're filthy rich and you buy this like $9,500 executive
$30,000 executive suite package. Yeah.
Then
That's
they
the
can
only way you
drink.
can drink.
All right. It's funny how rules can change when you're for the wealthy. So anyway, so they're boozing it up. No one else, the commoners, can't drink at all. There was going to be tents set up for everybody that was going to the World Cup. Okay. Anyway, Budweiser said we had all this beer. We were going to like thousands and thousands of cases of beer we were going to ship to Qatar for the World Cup. It's in a warehouse somewhere. Mm-hmm. Guess what they're doing with it? They're giving it to the country that wins the damn World Cup. So if Canada wins the World Cup, we're getting free beer.
I don't think that's how it works. Like I don't think you're getting the free beer, but Budweiser did. Yeah, because they shipped. This is in Qatar. They shipped over billions and billions and billions of dollars worth of beer. Yeah. Like so much Bud Light. The king, the everything Budweiser. Like they hundreds of millions of dollars in beer. And Qatar a couple days further, like, we were joking. We can't have people drinking in our country. Forget it. So Budweiser's like, new day, new tweet. Winning country gets the buds who will get them. So to your point, you're 100% right. Whoever wins the World Cup, Budweiser's trying to take all that beer and send it to the winning country. So if Canada wins for free,
we're getting free beer.
But who gets the free beer? That's the question.
I'll line up.
You'll line up.
I'll see past some human rights issues for free beer. So you can't swear or spit.
We are.
We're
so weak. We've been.
I'm going to get it
just creaming Qatar for their human rights violations, and you're like, whoa! Who said free beer? What someone say? Someone mentioned free beer.
Is it a 15-pack? All right, I'll watch soccer.
I'll look past a couple human rights violations just if I get.
I am kidding, everybody. That's awful.
Oh, dude.
I am going to watch soccer because I realize that if I took a stand against a sport I know nothing about, that I have never supported my entire life, that it's meaningless.
Yes.
Right. So I'm going to watch the game tomorrow, and I'm going to need some help because I don't even know how to report. Like, I don't even know, like, it's a match. It's not a game. What is it? Like, it's
a round robin game. So you get Canada, Belgium.
You're supposed to call it a match, aren't you? You're not supposed to call it a game. I don't know. There's a bunch of fucking.
It's a cap.
A cap.
It's an international cap. Yeah, that's what they call them, I think. Yeah, it's a cap, but it's a round robin game. So this is a group. I was talking to Craig Forrest, one of Canada's greatest footballers, and I'm like, "What do you think?" And he's like, "I don't see them getting out of the group, but they might because there's no book on Canada, right?" Yeah, but Belgium's the number 2 ranked team in the World Cup, and they get them right out of the gate. And they get a couple of scrubs after that too. But I mean, this is it, right? Like, this is World Cup soccer. These are the best teams in the world all arriving at the same place. And stranger things have happened. Like, Argentina was a 2-goal favorite this morning. Saudi beat them 2-1. They won.
Yeah.
So you
Well,
never know, right? Like, it's
we've got-
fucking crazy.
We've got Alphonso Davies, who's
Yeah.
apparently a
Kyle
superstar.
Larin.
Who
Yes, he
knows?
is.
Maybe he'll play. He's got a hamstring
playing.
issue. We got that coach. What's our coach's name?
John Herdman.
John. Everyone
Yeah.
loves the English dude, right?
Yeah.
Isn't he like a bit of a mastermind?
Yeah, he is. He was the guy that built the women's program, turned that into a gold medal winning team at the Olympics. Remember that? They did that a couple of years ago. Yeah, dude.
All right.
Yeah. All right, man.
I'm going to watch a little bit of it.
As you should. As you should. World Cup tomorrow at noon. We'll be on at 4:00. We'll kind of come into the tail end of the actual game. So we'll have some fun with that. And hopefully we'll try and get Ray Rout on with us around 4:00 to talk about the game too, because Ray's our sports guy. And before I let you go, just a quick tip. If you plan on sending someone a dildo this Christmas, don't vacuum pack it. Everybody will know what it is. Okay. Just letting you know. It's a terrible idea.
Did you get the video I sent you?
No. Did you just send me a video?
No, to Jimmy lubing up the dildos.
Oh my God. Yeah. It was the fucking hardest I've laughed in a long time. He's just lubing up the dildos over and over and over again. And the look on his face is like, why am I lubing up all the dildos? That was the look. I was just really upset. We'll get to that video tomorrow. And we'll talk about a bunch of other stuff. We'll be here again, 4:00 after the World Cup. Great to see you, Locke. Thanks for doing this, dude.
Take care, brother.
All right, man. Lachlan Cross, 957 Cruise FM in Edmonton. Thanks to Vivian Stamatopoulos. Thanks to everybody for being here, too. Really appreciate it. Don't forget, you can say hi, and thanks to our sponsors that make this all possible, like our guys over at cantork.com, industrial tool solutions for everybody. That's right. Canadian made, Canadian manufactured. Canadian Solutions. Canada's assembly tool experts make rugged, hardworking, beautiful torque wrenches. Canada's leading industrial tool expert. They offer you the very best in sales and service, rentals, calibration, maintenance, and custom fabrication of industrial torque tools. No matter the scale of your bolting project, they have your solution. Visit cantork.com today for that solution. Mining, nuclear. Maybe you're in the business of manufacturing yourself. Cantork.com. You don't have a solution, they'll make you one. And they're Canadian made, Canadian guys out of Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. Nice group of people. Also, our guys over at kivlaw.ca. Listen, it's tough to go through legal experience without great legal representation. The best defense attorneys in the entire province of Ontario live right here, and they're at kivlaw.ca, so make sure you get in touch with them. Kivlaw.ca, the best defense attorneys that help you through your legal issue, whether or not it's a big one or a small one. You did it or you didn't, doesn't matter. You want to maintain that freedom and get through this and learn from it. That's what they do. All you have to do is go to kivlaw.ca for more information today, or email Robert at kivlaw.ca right now. And thanks to Ed at Ed's Fine Imports. Listen, it's Christmas season. Send that person you love a pair of men's underpants. Luxury branded boxer briefs made by Ed himself, another Canadian-made company that'll send you underwear, or send underwear anywhere you like. Boxer briefs, pouch in the front, you can't miss. Listen, you send these to someone you like or love, they'll like or love you even more, because these are the best underwear in the business. EdsFineImports.com. Gets3 is your promo code. Use them today, and he'll send you a free pair of underwear when you buy 3 or more. Hell of a Christmas gift. That's what it is. Anyway, have a great day. Appreciate you being here. See you tomorrow. 4:00. Go Canada. Canada, Belgium. We'll be on right after that. Have a great day, everybody. We'll talk to you soon. Bye.